So for today, we're going to go through our intro notes, first set for Unit 1, or excuse me, for Unit 4, on our freshwater ecology. So first, we've got our two major freshwater ecosystems, or habitats. We can divide freshwater habitats into two groups. Either those that are low-tick, meaning that there's running water or flowing water, things like rivers and streams. We have water movement. A lentic system is going to be standing water, sometimes called still water. This will be things like lakes and ponds. In our flowing systems, the low-tick systems, we can describe our streams and rivers based on how often they have flowing water in them. There's three categories. There are the perennial streams and rivers. These are going to have water in them year-round. So San Antonio River would be a perennial river. Then there are intermittent. So these become dry for a week or longer each year. And then depending on how long a stream stays dry, could also be an ephemeral stream, or out towards West Texas and the farther western United States, also called arroyos. And these are going to be streams that typically only have water for the couple of days after a heavy rainfall. And depending on drought conditions and weather conditions for that year, a stream or a river might change types from year to year. So most years, Leon Creek can be considered an intermittent, but not always. Sometimes when we've had really severe drought, it's more of an ephemeral creek. So here we've got a map of just some of our major Texas rivers. So these would all be perennial rivers that have water the entire year. And then there are the lentic systems. So these include lakes, ponds, and wetlands. And wetlands are going to be areas where it's a mix of land and water, things like marshes, swamps, bogs, which tend to be really muddy places, and fens, which look grassy, but then there'll be small channels of water. When it comes to lakes in Texas, most lakes in Texas are man-made reservoirs. Most of what we call a lake, we created by building dams on a river, typically to store water for drinking water. So on this map, and I know it's really tiny, but we've got names of the major lakes and reservoirs. Most of them are out towards East Texas, where it is a more wetter climate. On this map, so how many natural lakes are non-man-made lakes that are in Texas is debatable. So we've got Caddo Lake way over here in East Texas, which is the largest of the natural lakes, meaning it was there before humans went and built dams. There are a couple other smaller ones, like one near San Antonio called Mitchell Lake, which are also a natural lake. So here in San Antonio, so we've got our San Antonio River running through town. So that's going to be our lentic system. As far as lakes go, there are three large lakes around San Antonio. Bronick Lake and Calaveras Lake, these are both reservoirs. Man-made dams were built. In the case of these two, the dams were built not for drinking water, but to collect water to be used to cool CPS power plants, making power and electricity generates a lot of heat, and so they need a lot of water to cool those plants back down. These two are also popular recreation places. You can go swimming and boating and fishing. Our third lake, and the smaller one, is called Mitchell Lake. This one is a natural lake. There's no dam there. And there's records of it on maps going back to the 16 and 1700s. This lake, however, there's a park around it. It's a very popular birding place, but you cannot swim or fish or do anything in this lake. From 1901 to the late 1970s, this lake was owned by the city of San Antonio, and it's where they dumped all of these untreated sewage. So prior to the 70s, San Antonio did not have the nice wastewater treatment system that we've already watched some videos and talked about. Instead, all the sewage, or at least a good portion of it, got dumped in Mitchell Lake. It has since undergone some restoration, but because of the polluted sediments that are still around, you can go hiking, you can go bird watching. It is a very pretty area to visit, but you cannot go swimming or fishing or be in the water. This would be a natural lake that's not too far from us. Now, as far as animals go, and your assignment for today will be looking at some animals. We've got our taxonomy. So this is the classification of all living things into related groups based on similar characteristics. And as we move into our freshwater ecology unit, not only are we going to talk about the ecosystems, we're going to talk about the animals. And animals that live in our lakes and streams and ponds and creeks and rivers. So this classification chart hopefully is familiar to you from freshman biology. It's our levels of classification, going from the broadest domain to the most specific, having our genus and species for the scientific name. And this is how we group organisms based on similar characteristics. Two primary characteristics that we have for grouping animals are whether or not they have a backbone or a spine. So here we have the invertebrates. Anything that's an invertebrate does not have a backbone. And this will include things like insects and crustaceans such as crayfish, little clams, snails, worms, would all count as an invertebrate. So in our picture here, we've got some of the snails, we've got some different worms, some different insect larvae, even we've got a spider down here. These would all be aquatic invertebrates. Vertebrates then will be animals with a backbone. So fish would have a backbone. We also get our amphibians, and we'll talk more about amphibians on Thursday, because amphibians are unique to freshwater habitats. So things like salamanders and frogs and toads. As far as reptiles go, there are water snakes, turtles are very common in our freshwater habitats, as well as birds and mammals like beavers and otters. All things we can find in freshwater habitats that are all vertebrates, meaning they all have a backbone. Any questions for me so far on our notes? So your assignment for today is we're going to be comparing a few freshwater organisms. So so you're going to use a comparison matrix, which is just a fancy word for a chart or a table. And there's a Word document there to download, or the Google Doc version is linked. If you use the Google Doc version, you'll need to make a copy to edit. And so you'll need to look up a couple of animals. I want you to find one that's an invertebrate, so you can put the name here, a fish, and then a vertebrate that's not a fish, so a reptile or an amphibian or bird or a mammal. In the table, you'll then either describe or give me pictures for their body shape, their colors, and their appendages. So that's like how many legs do they have, or fins or wings, and other adaptive features. To complete this, so there's a couple things linked. There is a guide to freshwater ecology book you can use, a learn about freshwater fish that you can use, and then this aquatic species online resource library, which will take you to links for different animals. So all of these are resources that you can use to complete today's assignment. Any questions for me? Right. So this assignment is the first grade for this new grading period. So if you have lots of missing work, it would probably be better for you to work on your missing work. Otherwise, you have this comparison assignment to complete. It'll be due next Monday because it's our first grade for the next grading period. And remember, tomorrow is SAT day. There's no Zoom. Make sure you're doing the attendance question on Schoology. Great. If you don't have any questions for me, I will see you on Thursday. If you do have a question about a grade or an assignment, hang out and I'll be happy to answer that. Bye, guys.